the aging fibroblasts tend to do is to almost reject the collagen threads. So they start to round up, and the projections off of the cells start to disappear, and the collagen, instead of looking like a well-sprung network, looks a bit more like a bowl of spaghetti.
Scientists are still trying to work out exactly how oxygen keeps the clock ticking on our aging fibroblasts. But is it possible to turn back the hands of time? Can we repair, restore, rejuvenate our skin? Part of the answer appears to lie in what we eat. Dr. Gail Jenkins has been working on what scientists call oxidative stress for a decade. And she's convinced what we consume is key to protecting and recharging our fibroblasts. And she has 4 rules to make life easier for you and me. The first rule is always look for bright colours. And one of the most important of the brightly coloured fruit and veg is the humble tomato. It's chock full of a very special ingredient.
So tomato is an excellent source of lycopene, and it's lycopene in the tomato that actually gives it the bright red colour. Excellent at absorbing reactive oxygen species and preventing oxidative stress.
Rule number 2 is look for bitter tasting fruit and veg.
So things like broccoli, for example, contains ingredients called glucosinolates. Also radishes are an excellent source of these glucosinolates. And by eating these ingredients and getting them deposited in the skin, you then allow the skin cells to defend itself. So an excellent natural source of helping your cell protect itself from aging.
Time for rule number 3. Eat lots of oily fish.
Fish is excellent for the skin, right? It contains a particular ingredient called the omega-3 essential fatty acids.
Well, we've got an awful lot of omega-3 fish to choose from.
Well, you have to choose a certain type of fish, so you're looking for the oily fish. So things like mackerel over here.
And why is the mackerel good for our skin?
So the omega-3 fatty acids that are in the mackerel have been shown to have anti-inflammatory benefits, so they dampen down inflammation in the skin cells. And anything that dampens down inflammation is good to prevent aging, because inflammation will drive oxidative stress.
Rule number 4, try to avoid starchy foods like rice, potatoes or pasta.
Oh yeah.
But what kind of meal can you make with these natural anti-aging, antioxidant ingredients?
You want the sharp bit pointing out. Other way.
We took the food we bought in the market back to the kitchen.
If I say so myself, very well cooked.
But winning the fight against oxidative stress would severely test the appetites of most of us.
The one big issue is the amount of the ingredients that are here. So, for example, the broccoli. In terms of the amount of broccoli we think you need to get any sort of benefit, it's about half a kilo a day.
Half a kilo?
These broccoli florets, so that's a huge amount.
But how about the fish?
The fish levels aren't too bad, so putting those two together, you would deliver a significant amount of the omega-3 fatty acids that would deliver a benefit, but it would be 2 together for one person.
And if we ate all 5 a day of fruit, would that cover our skin benefits?
Again, it depends on the size of the portions, but I suspect not. Really, to practically get the benefit that you need from these particular ingredients, you would need to eat much, much more.
But scientists at Unilever believe they've come up with a pill that could have all the benefits of the diet in a capsule. This is it. Apparently, everything that's in the antioxidant diet is in this little pill. But does it work?
Right, this is the cell culture lab, Brazil. Just about every skin cell type is growing in here.
Professor Casey and his team have been testing the contents of the anti-wrinkle pill on older skin cells in the lab.
There we go.
Fibroblasts that were dormant began to reproduce new collagen. They then ran a study of the effects of the pill on 480 older women across Europe. You can't tell everything from looking at pictures from the trial, but it's a good place to start. This is a picture of a woman's eye before taking the pill, and this is 14 weeks later. And what you can see straight away, the quality of the skin significantly improved. The wrinkles are less long, and the wrinkles that she does still have are much more shallow. It might not be much compared to surgery, but I think it's pretty convincing for a pill.
We've been working on this for quite a few years now, but it's only now that we've got the clinical data back that we know that this really works in people, and we've tested it on hundreds of women, and we're now confident that this really does work.
Unilever are planning to publish their results in a leading peer-reviewed scientific journal. And that's significant, because other scientists can test their claims and see if the results are reproducible. But what you eat isn't the only approach to looking younger. There's a powerful and radical new science emerging that has the potential to completely transform our understanding of how skin ages. It's hard to believe, but one of the things most of us love to eat is a factor in determining what our skin looks like. Sugar doesn't just have the potential to make you put on weight. It can also make you look older. It's incredible to think that sugar can make so much difference.
You getting on with butter?
Yes, sir. The effect of sugar on skin aging has fascinated biologist Dr. David Gunn. He devised a test. Working with the University of Leiden in Holland, he asked a panel of people to estimate the age of faces using standardized digital images.
If you go to a school reunion, and you always see some people there who you think maybe haven't fared so well, maybe look a bit older, and also some people who seem to have done very well and have maintained a youthful look as they've got older. So we were very interested in what the reasons were behind this variation in how old people look, and maybe what the secrets were behind why some people managed to maintain a youthful appearance as they got older.
In the study of 600 people, Dr. Gunn also measured everyone's blood sugar levels. And the link between blood sugar and looks was remarkable.
So we put people into, based on their glucose levels, whether they had low levels of glucose, whether they had the average levels of glucose or high levels of glucose. And then we looked between these two groups at their perceived age. What was really interesting was that the guys in the high group looked older than those with the average levels, and the average levels looked older again than the guys with the lowest levels of glucose sugar in their blood. And then what was fascinating layer on top of that is when we bring the diabetics in and look to their perceived age, they were older yet again. And that's interesting because the diabetics have had the longest exposure to high levels of glucose of any of these groups.
On average, people with high blood sugar looked up to 2 years older. So, how old does my skin look? Dr. Gunn offered to run the test on me. To do that, he first needed to take a series of pictures. Thank you. But there was one small hitch.
So here's the photography room.
Marvellous.
And this is where today we're going to take 2 photographs of yourself.
Fantastic.
One thing I noticed though straight away that we're going to have to ask you to do is remove your makeup.
Oh, no. Are you sure that's strictly necessary?
It's very necessary, I'm afraid. It can hide actually how your skin looks.
That's the whole point of it. This is not what I'd envisaged. Does it look radically different? Okay. I think we're done.
Perfect.
Finally, the pictures were taken. And adjusted so only my skin was visible. He then mixed up the images with people of a similar skin type and age to me. And he finished by showing them to a panel of volunteers. So what were the results?
How old do you think you look? What age? What do you think people would give you?
I daren't give you a figure, in case I'm wildly out.
Okay, well, I can tell you.
Where's the box of tissues, please?
We've got some box of tissues here, but I don't think you'll need them, because you came out as 34
Oh,
years
fantastic. I'll have that. That's fantastic.
I was stunned to discover that the panel thought I looked 10 years younger.
So now, I'm dying to know what your glucose levels are, of course, to see if, now we know you look younger than your age, whether you do have low glucose or not. So if you could show me that, I'd be very interested.
Okay, I do have my blood glucose here. I want to keep this. Here we go. Here's the figure, 4.5.
Okay. Oh, right, okay, yep. You would be counted in the low group. So, indeed, this sort of supports the data we showed that people with low glucose tend to look younger for their age.
So why do high blood sugar levels, amongst other things, make us look older? The answer lies in how the sugar becomes attached to the collagen in our skin.
Once it gets attached to collagen, it makes the collagen more brittle, more likely to break, and it's also more difficult for the skin to repair itself. And so once that occurs, then you're on your way to advanced aging in the skin.
Obviously, cutting back on the sugars in our diet is one factor in looking younger. That might help to hold back the aging process, but is there anything we can do to reverse it and make our sugar-damaged skin look younger? Our understanding of the power of sugars is totally transforming our view on skin aging. It's also creating a whole new branch of science. And I think this science, probably more than anything, holds out the tantalizing possibility of helping us look younger. The center of this new science is in Berlin. It's called glycobiology, the study of complex sugars in our tissues, which scientists call glycans. And it's not just transforming our understanding of human biology, it's also creating opportunities to change life unimaginably for all of us. The incredible power of glycobiology is on the very brink of being realized. It starts with this, the mosquito, and the disease that's the scourge of the developing world, malaria. It might seem improbable, but using the techniques of glycobiology to develop a vaccine for malaria also holds vital clues for solving the puzzle of how to make old skin look younger. Groundbreaking work on glycobiology is being done here at the world-renowned Max Planck Institute. I'm slightly humbled to be walking through its doors. I'm here to meet Professor Peter Seeberger. He's in charge of the cutting-edge research program and believes that the science of glycans has enormous untapped potential.
Well, glycobiology is really important. It's been only in the last couple of years that people really began to understand the importance of glycans. And right now we are seeing a huge burst in this area.
Glycans are found all over the exterior surface of our cells. And without them, our cells couldn't communicate with one another. To me, they're like a kind of essential social network. Messages for everything from making organs to growing hair can only be sent when the glycans connect. Block that connection and the dialogue is effectively turned off.
Hello.
Inspired, Professor Seeberger used this insight to develop a vaccine for malaria. What he did is revolutionary. He made synthetic glycans that block the toxin of the malaria parasite.
The parasite cannot survive without a glycan. The glycan is really important in its life cycle, and there's another aspect of our work. We do not actually try to kill the parasite. We only block its toxin.
So the parasite is still there, but it's no longer causing any symptoms or bad effects on the host.
That's right.
I'm really astonished to discover that in lab tests, the vaccine has proved 100% effective. So the painstaking work carried out here could end up saving millions of lives all over the developing world. And cracking the code of how our cells communicate is radically altering our understanding of how and why our skin ages.
On a young person's skin, the glycans are different from an old person's skin. And so the question is, what happens with this communication between cells? And the interesting part was found is that if those glycans go away, the interaction that they involved in can't happen anymore, and that eventually leads to all sorts of detrimental effects on the skin.
So a breakdown in this communication appears to be a key variable in how the skin ages. I suppose it was only a matter of time before the huge potential of this new language of life was used to see how it could help us all look younger. The focus of this research isn't here in Berlin, but in the style capital of Europe, Paris. I'd secretly hoped that this investigation into glycans and looking younger would be carried out near the Boulevard Saint-Germain, or the Champs-Élysées, or any other of the celebrated fashion districts of the capital. But my window shopping was short-lived. I had to leave it behind and make my way to the outskirts of the city. Here, amongst the warehouses and small industrial units, are the science labs of L'Oreal. They've been studying glycobiology to see if it can be used to make skin appear younger. Of all the cosmetics companies, they are at the forefront of this science. The man leading the project is Dr. Bruno Bernard. For him, glycans are on the verge of a revolution in biology.
Glycans are involved in all the major biological processes in all human tissues, skin included, of course. Without glycans, you cannot live.
L'Oreal lead the world in manufacturing synthetic skin. They can create the two separate layers of the skin, the dermis and the epidermis, in the lab. And what they're investigating is how these two layers are connected, how they interact with each other. That communication takes place in the dermal-epidermal junction, which is rich in glycans. But as we get older, our glycans start to dwindle. The messages to keep making vital collagen don't get sent. And so the collagen starts to deflate. The skin wrinkles and sags. What L'Oreal claim is that in the lab they've been able to switch aging glycans back on, restoring the dialogue between the dermis and the epidermis.
What we have shown that when you treat the skin with some ingredients, you're able to restore the quality of the dermal-epidermal junction. In other words, you are restoring the quality of the dialogue between epidermis and dermis and dermis and epidermis. This is key.
L'Oreal have used that science to make a cream. which they say increases the number of glycans in the dermal-epidermal junction. This should restore deflated collagen, eliminate sagging, and push out wrinkles. Now that's a pretty big statement. The woman in me is obviously very excited, but the surgeon in me is skeptical. And that's because most cosmetic creams just don't penetrate deep enough or contain enough active ingredients. But maybe glycans can reach the parts other cosmetic creams can't. L'Oreal have conducted a series of tests on real skin, and I'm going to have a look at some of the results. Looking at this dermatology trial of patients before and 1 month after using the product, what you can see in this classic crow's feet view is that the lines are certainly less long and shallower, and the skin quality certainly seems to have improved around this. This is a very difficult under-eye area where the skin is really thin, and I've not seen results this good even with microdermabrasion or with laser treatment. Before you think of buying this cream, this study by L'Oreal only featured 60 women, and it hasn't been published in a peer-reviewed journal. It's certainly promising, but I'd like to see more data to convince me. What I'm really excited by is the power of the fundamental science that lies behind it. It's a project that Professor Peter Seeberger, one of the pioneers of glycobiology, has been employed by L'Oreal as a consultant on.
Being very cynical in the beginning, I was really worried about the level of science that would be done at a cosmetics company. But I actually learned that it's very good basic science. They have people there that have been doing glycobiology for 25 years in some cases. They're employing the same techniques that would be employed in academic laboratories.
If we're being honest, I think a lot of us would like to look younger if we could. But time only flows in one direction, and its tracks get etched on our skin. As a surgeon, I've always believed in the power of the scalpel. But I know it's not the only answer. I didn't know what to expect when I started out on this journey. The influence of diet on skin aging was a real eye-opener, but it's made me much more thoughtful about what I eat. I was also pretty disappointed at just how strong and direct an effect sun exposure has on wrinkles. But I'm really hopeful that the new science of glycobiology will completely change the way we deal with skin aging. Wrinkles may never become a thing of the past, but it's really nice to believe they may be pushed further into the future.
Taking a journey to the bottom of the sea with Richard Hammond here on BBC HD at 8 o'clock tomorrow night.